Welcome for faculty who are joining us through online via Collaborate. Too bad they cannot join us. There's a virtual lunch for them. So, yeah. So, as I mentioned, this is our second roundtable session, right? Now this time in Edinburgh. The first one was in Brownsville last month. And we want to continue this for like in a monthly basis. And again, this is a conference, this is a session for faculty, to faculty. So the purpose of this session is not like for me doing a presentation of all the new things that we're doing at COLTT'S, but it's more for the student, the faculty that share what is good or what they have been trying in online, what is working or what is not working for you guys. Of course, you will have the opportunity to ask questions, but again, the main idea is for your peers to answer questions and again share what they've been doing in online courses. So I just want to mention again that this is a original idea from one of the faculty who wanted to get ideas from peers. So I want to give credit again to Dr. Paul who initiated this session. And at the same time, so we listen, right? If you speak, if you as a faculty speak, we listen, and here's the example of when we listen to you and listen to your suggestion, your advice. So with that sense, in the previous session, we have a survey at the end of the session, and there was some comments from faculty in terms of what can be do better in the session. One of them was instead of having a open topic, so we can talk about anything on online, we I guess reduce that into the three most demand topics.
It was a suggestion from last time, like to ask faculty to provide their feedback on what topics they want to talk about. And so those are the three ones that are going to be talked about today. So the topics selected for today's session are engagement and interactivity, academic honesty and integrity, micro lectures and videos, and then after which we'll have networking time.
Yes. So we also have some rules, right? Even though, like I said, this is an open session, but we want to have some rules, rules of the game in terms of what can we do, what cannot do during the session or during the process. So if you have any questions, any concerns, I guess you can raise your hand or the hand that is on the table. So yeah, just raise your hand if you have any questions. If you don't wanna, speak or have a question, there's some index cards also. You wanna write down the question and then pass it to one of our staff members in the gray and orange shirts, so we can go over those questions. So each person will have a 2-minute response to ensure that everyone have the opportunity to share. So we're putting some time limits on it because otherwise we can be here all afternoon. There will be some questions also from the online. Anthony, Salinas, and Brad, they're the moderators for the online sessions. And of course, if there's any questions from online, they're also welcome to. And again, the questions that we'll be asking will be related to the topic that we are on it. So, any questions from the audience? Not yet?
Great to be a success. It's great that everyone shared their experiences. This is all what this is about, an opportunity for us to share our experiences, what you've done, getting ideas and suggestions from each other.
Yeah. So the first topic of today is engagement and interactivity. And you have 20 minutes for it, and the clock is running right now. So we all know that engagement and interactivity are essential for the student retention. So I guess what we want to know is if you have any questions, any concerns about how to keep engaged your online students. Any volunteers? Anyone want to share or ask any questions related to that topic?
I have a question.
Yes. Okay.
So I have a discussion, several discussion boards going on, and sometimes students ask questions. I hesitate whether I should answer immediately or how much should I wait. If I answer immediately, I feel that I'm kind of jumping in and suppressing any discussion among students. And if I wait too long, I'm concerned that they think that I don't care or I don't know the answer.
So I guess the question will be, what's the perfect timing to respond?
Yes, what would be the balance?
Anyone wanted to share?
No, actually, I need to add that way we can have a more broader conversation. I use the discussion, but my question when to intervene, when to interact with the student. And again, I am going to bring up the elephant in the room, which is the class size. When we have 100 and you have coaches, and no matter what I tell the coaches, you need to, there's at some point they need to interact with them because whether they're at the right track, when they say something that is very useful and you want to have them elaborate more on it or give guidance to the students. And if the coaches are not interacting in the discussion, how much the faculty can, and it's open up, that's one.
But we can focus on this question first, like, because coaches is a good topic. It's a topic that we can talk about a little later, but I guess really quickly to answer that question though, if your coaches are not doing what you ask them, you can actually do them. And if you're not talking with Jacqueline, that's the thing, you could talk with Jacqueline that way. You get somebody that works with you. Because if you're going to be stuck with that coach and they're not doing what you want, that's going to be a reflection on you and not on the coach itself.
Thank you.
So any volunteers, what are they doing in terms of responding back to students? What would be the best, or what is it that is working for you?
Usually when one student asks a question and maybe no one else has asked, what I usually do is respond to that student and also tell other students that this question has been raised by one of you, and I feel like maybe it would be important that you also know. Some students say, yes, I also have the same question, and that way you kind of connect that they're sharing the same, maybe challenge.
Okay, so what we're seeing is that there's a good idea to have some kind of maybe a discussion for open question and answer that they can. If a student has a question, maybe other students have the same question. So if you respond to the either the discussion or announcement on another tool in Blackboard, it will be, I guess the message will be sent to others.
I was going to say, it surely depends on what the nature of the question is and what the goal of the discussion board is. So if a lot of questions that I field are things that are specific about like some upcoming assignment, or another student cannot answer that, right? So I have no problem in going in and saying, here's the answer, so that all the other students can see it. And I think that things get rather different if you're trying to use the discussion board not as a visible place to pose questions or to answer questions so that you don't have to explain the same thing about the assignment 100 times. But if the goal is to get students writing and discussing about the topics to each other, then things become like rather different. And like why, and you sort of have to say, well, like, why am I answering this question? Is the goal here to, again, be a prompt for discussion, in which case, again, maybe the way that you answer the question can be maybe to say, well, okay, you raised this, but what about this? And to sort of like keep not answering it, but pushing the discussion forward, right? Prompting them for like next steps.
Just online, Zen Fisher says that I have any question discussion board and ask students to post their class questions there and encourage other students to answer the question from the syllabus. I check once a day and confirm. Just want to add that.
Some people might not agree with this, but I have a 3-strike rule, where first strike is reread the instructions. The second one is ask your classmates, and then the third, come to me. And the other thing I do is I have a questions for Dr. Romero in the weekly module, where all the questions that are asked, I post them and answer them there. So I ask them to refer to that, so they can not be asking questions. That's the suggestion.
Thank you.
And just like for my course that's online, I don't really do a lot of discussion boards. I think I do one like for introduction to each other and like get to know them. But my question is like, does the system, because I haven't been able to figure this out, does the system like give you, do you have to check yourself like daily when somebody posts and like how often or you get the notification? Because I never received any, or like, and then I found that I'm that person on the discussion board, unfortunately. Everything is horrible. I know I'm the instructor, but for the most part, most of my assignments are very self-paced. They kind of work on their own, or they have to work in a group, and that's when it's harder for me. So how do you guys manage that? Those of you that have these discussion boards.
One of the things that I do is subscribe to that set it to notify you. Excuse me. Can you speak louder so that the audience from the sorry.
So it says subscribe to thread, and the other is for some, if you want them to post a certain number of posts, you can add that in the grading option. You know, notify me when they have 3 posts and then talk about every post.
And one of the things I do for discussion board is if you have a question, if a student has a prompt in response to an actual graded post, I wait for 3 days to respond so that I allow peers to give each other feedback. Because if you jump right in, it's exactly what you just said. You thwart something that could have been like that the community itself could have been actually resolving with each other. And then of course you come in, because then if there's things that are going on with misdirection, then you come in to chime in, provide that feedback. Because generally, I'm not sure if this is for everyone's, like your start date is on Monday, maybe your end date is on Sunday. So you kind of reflect on also when the closing date is coming to decide when to chime in as well. And then one of the things that we like to do is having a closeout discussion, so that addresses the prompt itself, giving closure to it. Because if you just leave it and move on to the next one without actually closing it, then students are kind of left like, so what was the answer, or what was, and that's a great opportunity to let students know, hey, take a look at so-and-so's post. They discussed this very well on this X, Y, and Z, whatever.
Okay, online we have Ruben. He's got discussion boards that gives students 10 posts in a semester for a total of 2% of the grade. Students reply to 2 classmates for 95% of participation. They're also using rubrics as a way to grade the posts, but it does involve a lot of grading, what they're saying.
So I teach literature, and I understand that some of this, how you structure your course, is on. And so what I have found is creating a very simple routine. So once a week, my students do discussion board, and they're required to do one initial entry and answer for group. Then I will come in to 1 or 2 days later. I used to respond to every post. I don't do that anymore. It's not one of my lessons. And so then what I do is a lecture at the end for integrity where I respond and connect and I talk to them about calling. Then if they have any other questions, next if they're blog posts, and they can also post their comments and then I can address them next or there's just like on there.
Yeah, and I think developing a routine approach. There is some ambiguity to when they have to start. I think I sidestepped the whole discussion board issue by switching from a fully online class to a hybrid class. The only aspect of the hybrid in-person class is for discussion, where the students are interacting with each other and I'm interacting with them. That's the only reason we came together. We don't have to do it that frequently, and again, it's kind of specific scheduling. They know when it's coming. But I found with discussion boards, maybe this is just me, I could never fully get them engaged the way I wanted them to get. Even with rubrics, they kind of understood what had to be put out there. And initially, at the beginning of the semester, they were all on board and jumping in there with kind of interesting things to say, and then they just kind of got into and the least they really had to say. I just felt that passion there wasn't part of it. Whereas in class, they're far more interactive and engaged. I don't know how to really replace that. Maybe there's some new technological tools to do that, but I'm not convinced yet to replace it.
I just want to add what you're saying a little bit, but slightly different. And I guess it cuts both ways. What I find more engaging is we do research, they write research papers, and put them like in groups of 4 and create their own rooms in Blackboard so that they can interact together, those 4 groups, and at the end of the semester, they present to each other. Some students have come forward complain that these cost so much on their time, so they don't seem to like it, but many of them give feedback and saying that this was so good, it kind of gives us that engagement that we get to know each other as much as we're all very different.
I disagree with you. I never had any problems engaging students online. I never see any problems as far as students engaged on themselves. Nothing less if I teach face-to-face. I use the university physics model. You can do more or less, but this is the basic model I use. On a weekly basis, I post 10 questions, 8 or 9, depending on how many students. You don't want them. Sometimes, if you give them too little, 1 or 2, they will the answers additive, depending on how many. I used to teach a class of 120 students. Now we're moving towards a research school to reduce the teaching load to 60, then right now 45. And if I had 120, I have to divide them into 4 groups with 30 students per group. So anyway, 45 students, I give them 8 questions. I had 10 questions. I said, if you are the 5th person to answer the same question, I will reduce 5 points. Because they take easy questions. Some questions are application oriented. They have to do more research. And I always receive comments from students. I enjoy your teaching. I enjoy online discussions tremendously. So I don't know how you would see that kind of problem, lack of engagement, lack of passion in online discussion. I never had that problem. And to answer one question, 10 points for that. Then they must post 3 comments. Each question must be 120 words or more. And once again, this is the university physics model, and not necessarily the best, but this is the one I go with. Then when they post a comment, each comment must be 60 words or more. Of course, the longer the better. Not necessarily, but this is the minimum. you can see some students just keep the minimum without saying much, but you have to give them without subtracting points. For the most part, they give very good, very detailed discussion. Yes. And I also said you have to post 3 comments on 3 different days. That's very important. Otherwise, some student would post all comments on one day, then you don't see people come back. So that's one way to force them engaged. And if they do post 2 or 3 comments on the same day, I give them only credit for one post. So I don't see any problems as far as engagement in interactivity goes. I guess it has a lot to do with the discipline, as one of us mentioned. I don't have to answer any questions. I guess marketing does not have a steep learning curve. They can teach themselves by reading the textbook. They can get the information online, so on and so forth. So far, I never seen a student pose a question, Professor, how would you answer this question? I don't know whether they don't want to do that because they don't want to embarrass themselves or not. So anyway, I leave it there.
All right. So we got 3 minutes. Can I just rush it out?
I have a whole other topic. I'm from criminal justice. We use a company called COLTT'S, which had an online book, everything set up. The comment that I had was, believe it or not, students are saying, I didn't know I had to purchase anything. And so this came up after 3 weeks, where students were saying, oh, what have I had to do? The syllabus is online, everything's online. And I just wanted to ask you, has anybody else had a situation where the students don't understand that they have to buy something?
I do. So I actually, in my regular face-to-face classes, we use Master of Engineering, or when I teach dynamics. And the rule is, and after I set up this rule, I never had this issue again. On the syllabus and on the first day of class, I stated, if by syllabus, if by census day you're not registered and paid for, will be dropped from my course that day. And then the first semester I did that, I followed through with it, I dropped 2 students, never had an issue with that. Yeah.
One quick comment, actually. We're talking about engagement and interactivity, so this is student, faculty. So anything that is graded, I have no problem with that. Whether, I still have the problem with coaches, and it's another story. I know that's maybe we'll have another town hall or something. But I do have the general forum discussion, where because I'm trying to develop that learning community, get them engaged, so we have the introduction. So this is what theory, what all article and everything says, and that's what we're trying to do. But sometimes that general discussion forums becomes more of a kind of a center for complaining, rather than which also my colleague Phil here. I don't know what she's saying. So is there any ideal or model of general discussion forum instruction that you can give us that we can share? Because sometimes, even one day when coach say, I don't know what she means by, although the coach is supposed to assist me and explain if there is any confusion. So is that's something that you can help us with maybe?
So one of the things that pops in my head is the idea about continuous improvement, and the idea about let's take a look at the feedback. Is there any merit to it, or not? If there's merit to it, let's see what changes need to be in place so that the next semester it's offered, we don't have that question again. But there's also guidelines on how you expect your students to respond. There's ethical guidelines, like there's your etiquette, and it's important to have that really emphasis. And even if you have it, but it's something that we can look at too. That way we can see what's going on.
We can have a really general. It's embedded into the netiquette and all of this. But
let's
still,
take a look at those questions
Yeah.
and see what we can do with those.
it's so far so good. I mean, this semester, this module, I'm about to finish my module, but still, there's any like a generic ideal way to get them engaged as a person. Okay, I'm done.
Wait a minute.
I'm fine.
Just in time. All right, so we're closing that topic then, and we are opening another one, which is academic dishonesty, or academic honesty and integrity. So far we have already one question from where is this? From the survey. So how do you make sure student discussion boards, going back to the discussion, are academically honest? So anyone doing anything assuring that I guess the student who is enrolled in the course is the ones who actually posting?
Or is it more like is it?
Yeah, like what that's too vague. Like
Yeah.
academically honest, like what does that even mean?
I
Like
think one of the questions is
identity. I think you're right. Like identity theft. Is it really the person?
Cheating or copy and pasting.
Plagiarism.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. The students have a assigned textbook. And they feel because they read that textbook and it's the assigned textbook, I don't need to put anything in quote, because I got it from the book that you assigned. And so you still have, if it's word for word, you still have to give credit for your sources. And so unfortunately, my poor academic coaches are being punched by, oh my gosh, how dare you? And I was like, but that's the chapter she told us to read. Yes, but this is part of
That's not dishonesty. That's ignorance.
Yes.
No,
Yes, and so that's the hard part for them to understand. At some point in time, somewhere in their learning, they learn that as long as they change the order of the form, they didn't have to give credit. I said, if you took that idea from somebody, so yeah, that's the biggest thing for academic design, and they don't get it.
We just received, but
Okay, from the Department of Writing and Language Studies, we are supposed to be teaching the difference between plagiarism and academic integrity. Okay, so one of the things we could do is provide examples. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but like, let's say, you can just say, let's say you want to comment on this passage from the book, here's the several right ways to do it, here's what not to do. I mean, they love examples. But
Yeah, that could be put in the syllabus under academic dishonesty, just like.
But some specific would get them to look at it a little more carefully, and they don't intend to plagiarize. They just for some reason never understood the difference.
yeah, we just recently read an article on plagiarism and how a lot of it is like they're not aware. They're never taught how to paraphrase correctly. They're never taught how to properly cite sources. And so one of the ways that they actually reduced it is they incorporated some exercises within the course in the beginning, giving them samples. This is like of paraphrasing, this is samples of plagiarism, and then giving them exercises to actually do it. That way they're getting trained. So that the outcome of that study, and we can actually share that in the organization later on, was that there was a reduced level of plagiarism as compared to prior.
And in support of what she just said, not only about academic honesty and integrity, but also about participation. The key is, because we are teaching different topics, and there is no one-size-fits-all. If you do this, it will work in linguistics, it will work in mathematics, it will work in finance. But the key is 3 steps. Step number 1, make sure you design clearly the objectives. What do you want from what you are asking them to do? You ask them to do forum and comments on forum. Make sure you put this is the objective. You must do this, this, this. You want them to write a paper. This is how you paraphrase. This is how you cite. Step number 2. After objective, expectation. If you do this, you will get 5. If you do this, you will get 4. If you do this, you will get 3. Step number 3. Put everything on grade. It's not UTPA, UTRGV, University of Kentucky, University of Florida. Everywhere you will go, students will not do it much if it's not for grade. So those are the three keys. You want them to go to discussion board, you want them to write papers, you want them to do reading assignment, you want them to participate in the classroom, online or face-to-face, no matter what. Make sure the objectives are clear. This is what I want you to do. Make sure the expectations are clear. If you do this, you get A. If you do this, you get B. If you do this, you get C. And make sure everything is on the grade book right away. So what I mean is, don't the faculty members who are procrastinating, waiting for the midterm to upload the grades, are not encouraging the students to repair what they did bad. Because when you put everything on rubric like that, and then so on, one more thing is, don't do a lot of weight on one assignment. 40% of your grade is midterm, 60% of your grade is final. If you do put a lot of weight on that one assignment, if someone flops, they cannot repair it. But if you put small kind of chunk, unit 1 is 20%, unit 2 is 20%, and you put the grade very fast, as soon as they see, oh, I have a bad grade, they want to repair that. And they will read the rubric, and they do very much within one semester, they will do it well. But everything must be written in the syllabus at the beginning of the semester.
Okay. I think we've all entered into a new world with online testing. You know, I'm not talking about plagiarism. I'm talking about online testing. The situation we're running into is some of the online testing will randomly give each new test random questions. Now, that sounds good unless there's a problem with the test itself. And we run into that where all of a sudden question number 10 is not question number 10. Because we now have students that understand much better than we do online testing. And we've had situations where you have two students at two screens taking a test. How do you know that? Taking pictures. You know, we've entered in, I don't have any answers, but we've entered into a new realm where I don't think we understand the sophistication of an 18-year-old who now understands electronics much better than we do. And I'm just throwing that out there because these companies are all selling us great products, but the sophistication of the students, I think, is like, I trust them. Do I think they're honest? No. No, I don't. And the problem is the 99% that do it are complaining about the 1% because you've got two people, and Mary as an example.
No, I was just going to say, because we're in CJ, and so we always like to say with our students, you know, you gotta think like a criminal in order to react to criminal behavior, and so they're pretty crafty. And so with a lot of the programs that we use, we are very aware that they can purchase test banks online now.
Did y'all know that?
They can purchase them with all the answers. It's been going on for a while, and so it's definitely something that's out there, and I think that's something that we just had to kind of reconcile. Is it possible that they're going to cheat? Is it, we're trying to do the best that we can, but it's not always going to work well.
Let's let Dr. Lasso, yes, sorry, we skipped her. So sorry.
I'm sorry, I muted next to that one, but I think in terms of paraphrasing the law school, the LSAT exam is a good grade. How to paraphrase, that's a question. It's quite well, question. Also, I think that what was mentioned here, I mean, the idea of ghostwriters, I mean, that you can hire a ghostwriter, PhD student to answer your, basically to impersonate you online and answer all your exams and answer all, I mean, they get kind of quite well as a PhD exam or whatever, or being an undergraduate. And in fact, nowadays they have websites where they have some kind of peer mentoring where they encourage PhDs to help undergraduate students with that use going forward.
What's that number?
So I think the hybrid format might avoid that, and then you can meet your students once in a while, at least once a month, and then maybe quiz or something, maybe quiz them on. But I think that
That's good. I like the quiz.
Yeah. So you're aware of the monitor?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you used it?
No.
So I'm sure most of you are aware, it's the one where they're on a webcam as if taking the exam online. And so the idea is, number one, you know that it's showing up. Number two, you can kind of monitor to see when they're cheating. You can't really monitor everyone all the time or look back to all their records, maybe more hours. But actually, spot check that does flag suspicious behavior, somebody else will going on. I will say I've been using it off and on, and I have seen dramatic drops in grade. And monitored it. Dramatic drops in grade as a result of using it, something back up when I stopped. Same class, exactly the same content, exactly the same way, only different. This semester, for the first time, I'm giving students option of monitor or having an in-class exam. And I haven't had that exam yet, but based on a show of hands, surprisingly, about 2/3 of students that they want to come to class the exam. So there is another possibility that they just really hate the idea, very anxious about sitting there in front of a camera recording every movement. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But it is an option. I used to be a real advocate of it. Now I'm kind of on the fence. But it works in terms of reducing those inflation rates. Something.
I heard about responders. I never tried using it. I had the feeling that it's too much work on my part. So instead of that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get away from high stakes tests and just make it too expensive for students to ask somebody to do it, because if they have to spend 12 hours anyway, even if you're a professor, you have to spend 12 hours solving the problems, then I don't think anybody will do it.
I don't think it's just other people doing it. I think, as they say, these answers are out there online. And all they need to be doing is looking stuff up on Google, putting the question, speak it into your phone or whatever, they'll come back with an answer for a lot of these test banks. So is that really testing their knowledge, or is that just testing their ability to look stuff up?
That's what I'm saying, that I want to get away from tests.
Right. Okay.
And the responders, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's not something new, as we all said. 30 years ago, UC San Diego had a freshman class of 100 people with all the grades between midterm and the final. And I saw lots of people in those days I saw in class. Yeah, but I think with Dr. Arthur and Dr. Baloo both said, what I try and do is spread it out and not give so much weight to one assignment. That makes it very difficult for them to procure assistance, even if they're going to Google it and stuff. And as far as the test banks, I'll go in and change something, like put a knot in there where it's not a knot, or take a knot out so it reverses the answer. And that's got to be a dead giveaway. And then maybe I'll keep an eye on it first. One simple thing to do is on Blackboard, don't make the question number static, make it dynamic. Every time someone goes there, question number, the question set is still 50 questions. But I go there, question number 11, it is not 11. You go there, question number 11 is 22. So make it dynamic. And if the time for the test is limited, you have 2 hours to do this test. And the exercise numbers are dynamic. You will waste a lot of bandwidth on phone and Skype trying to figure out, is your number 22, my number 48? That will not work. And we have experienced that with cameras in a black mirror at University of Kentucky. Even if you have a big brain, you better use your brain solving the question than figuring out my 11. Is it your 17? Is it your 22? Just make it dynamic. Number 2 is, here at UTRGV, I was made aware by a student that some of the classmates are buying on check.com the answer keys of my exam. So I told the students, don't worry, that is the exam inside the classroom. Bruno, they figured from your unit 1 that you are going to give this type of exam. I give 4 exams. I said, don't worry, On the, first of all, I don't know about what type of topics you are teaching, but if I am teaching economics and finance, so I select a textbook where the test bank is very large. For the online homework, I make it dynamic. It will not be easy for you to figure out. For what is in situ in the classroom, in the check, in the book, the interest rate is 4.3. In my exam, the interest rate is 3.4%. I caught there the people who are writing a cheat sheet and using telephone, I got there. Why do you use 4.3 as interest rate? Because you have the answer from check. I used, look, I wrote on your exam paper 3.4, and your answer is 4.3. So it's when it's just
be careful, they'll bring their lawyer next.
No, I am just saying, and some of you may say, Bruno, that's a lot of work to do. It's not. I just replace on a verbal question, which of the following is Modigliani-Miller's proposition number 1? And then in the exam, which of the following is not Modigliani-Miller proposition number 2? Then try to figure out what check this side, and if you don't use your brain, you will not find the answer.
There's 2 people that had comments on this.
Save text or responders, and they're all really good, and they work. I mean, I might seem like I'm a mean person, but you're doing your job well. You're changing the test. You're using the tools that they give us to try to deter this. But if they just want to cheat, and that's what they want to do, you're doing your job, and you're trying hard, and you're hoping that they trust them that they won't do something bad. But if they do, you already did it. That's my opinion. And then as far as the plagiarizing, and I put a rubric like a lot of you do, but I specify there that if you don't put the sources, that you need to put 2 sources. If you don't have them, then I won't even grade your paper. That's 0. Next time they won't forget. 1 0, it's all it takes. Then they move on.
I just had a question for Grant, actually. With respondents, do you have students, or any students complain that they have to have access to a camera on their computer?
So I do a couple of things. One is that I let them know ahead of the semester, like anyone, I let them know up front. Okay. Kind of gives them a little bit of time to talk. I know that. Also, I take an effort as actually can make sure there are computers on campus available. Library uses my go-to place, but apparently now in the library, there's a social area. Blew my mind. I thought libraries were the last bastion of having a quiet space available, but now everywhere there's the discussion. So some of the students changed that they could concentrate on their tests. But yeah, I think that's something that if we're going to have respondents, one thing here, another thing, is frequently need to have things on campus. The development because you don't have that equipment.
I think that further on that, I don't know about you guys, but I would just appreciate like a lab for like online students that is like you can access your online classes there, because we use Minecraft with Blackboard and everything, and sometimes they're trying to do it with their phone because they don't have a laptop, they don't have that, and it doesn't work. Somewhere that they have all the resources, every up to date. Because with computers, I know with Minecraft, it works on Chrome or it works on Firefox. It doesn't work on Internet Explorer in certain. So I think if that's something maybe in the future that we could look into, that there's like a lab for students, because I can see in CJ with respondents, they're going to be like, well, I don't have access. I don't have an iPhone, and they're going to be like, I don't know how to use it.
It's from the class.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then the problem that I run in with there is, I know as a lecturer, student evaluations are so huge. And so then if I have a huge number that drops and then still evaluate me later on, I'm just like, yeah. And I'm just like, what that puts me in a pickle, because because I want to maintain my integrity as an instructor and not make it so easy for my students, but also it's my job.
By the way, my student evaluations didn't think it did.
Yes. Really? Okay, so I can report.
So 20 seconds left. I guess we have another question.
A question or comment from online?
Let me have a 20 seconds.
Sorry, but I'm at 6% here. I'm trying to jump to another device. Bruno Matallagos posted general question about plagiarism and discussion posts. 1. The main problem is how do you check if a post has some copy and paste? Do we have available a software to test for plagiarism on discussion posts? Then Fisher stated Safe Assign. Of course, Safe Assign only works with assignments. It doesn't work with discussion posts. That is a problem, yes. But as we discussed on the online portion, you can use direct submit with Safe Assign. What was mentioned was that you can, if a post looks fishy to you, you can grab it, copy and paste it within the direct submit in Safe Assign, so you can validate it whether or not. You can maybe even make that part of your policy. You might check, and we just kind of quickly mentioned this, every once in a while, check a post here and there, and just tell students, I will be checking for plagiarism. They don't need to know when, they don't need to know at what time of the day, you'll just be checking randomly, just to safe check.
All right. One last. So.
Do you guys have extra time?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. I guess if there's any other concerns or any other questions, we jump into our last topic of the day. Yeah, micro lectures or videos.
So there's a study that was conducted by EDUCAUSE where our university students were part of it, and 80% of the students were requesting the faculty incorporate some online lectures, some lectures in their Blackboard, taking advantage of the technology. And so what we're encouraging is creating micro lectures, which are either teaching online or hybrid. Create micro lectures that are around. Well, the practice is there's different literature saying different things, right? 6 minutes long or 10 minutes long, where you concisely describe the topic, and if you need more time, you just create additional segments. But so, any questions on micro lectures or how to do it, or concerns or comments or advice, recommendations?
Well, the question I have is, please tell me the purpose of the micro lecture. Anybody?
They like to go back and listen again, be able to stop. That's what my deal. I don't use them very much because I don't have the technology. I'm not adept enough at doing it, but they just like to go back and listen to it at their leisure.
I was gonna say, I know in our department I use not necessarily like integrity for micro lectures, but Blackboard Collaborate, and I do it like half office hours, half lectures, once a week. And what's tricky for me is I teach 3 sections of criminology, and so I actually use Blackboard in one section, and then I have to give guest access to the other 2 sections. But what's been nice, especially in criminology, I don't know about what other disciplines, is theories can be called, one theory can be called 3 different things, and it'll go by different names. So you'll have like biological theory, but it's also called trait theory. So what I've learned with the little micro lectures and stuff is I can go in and focus on a few theories to really help them with like their keywords that they're working on right now. Because especially in the textbook, it goes into so much detail that self-learning, I feel like they get overwhelmed. So I can be like, don't focus so much on that. Let me break a few down. So that's been helpful for me.
We teach a flipped class, so my lectures are not really micro. They're just lectures online. The students, we didn't see much of a change in terms of pass-fail rate, but when we effectively put them online, we saw grades go up. And so the students that were putting effort, and especially those students that were borderline, we're now able to jump to the next, right? And so what we generally do is have the lectures, and the first time or the first couple of semesters that we were doing it, nobody was watching them. And so you have to make them accountable. So now we have the lectures, they watch them, they take a quiz. Even if they don't take the quiz, they still end up watching the lecture, because when they come into class, especially at the beginning, they realize how important we end up using class time. We call them challenges. And so the first half of the class, the important factors, like the important objectives of the lecture that was online. We have like Lydia's point of down, and so we clear up whatever clarified, and then we have the students work either in groups or on their own, and then we walk around. And to them, it's really helpful, especially because they're engineering, so sometimes they get stuck on problems. And so they find that it's nice to have a professor there and say, hey, can you help me? And so we've also noticed that our office hours we're getting more people coming in because developer or it's hard to do that in engineering. It's easier, I think. I think that is
Just one comment actually. Yes, we have micro lectures, and I have we are teaching an accelerated program 7B. So, and every other week I do a wrap up of the 2 weeks, and so how much they go and listen to those and they watch those lectures, that's a question. I did this time, students do not go and watch those, because I ran an experiment just this session, and I'm teaching right now. They were struggling with article analysis. I'm teaching public administration program. So I invited 2 students to present. They were like the overachievers. They were very good. I look at their draft. I said, I would like you to present. So I opened a Blackboard Collaborate, and they presented. And people said, I got to attend. I said, it's not mandatory, because we are told we cannot make those sessions mandatory. We are voluntary. You can, and they will have access to the recording. Well, guess what? That's my frustration. I'm so frustrated as a faculty, because you do much, but at the end of the day, you're not getting what you want. And then, so I made the recording available, and guess what? The students who were submitting, they were not meeting my expectation, even with the rubric, even with that. They didn't watch the So how can I like that she helped me with the quiz? So I think what she was talking, and I'm thinking about, because she helped me put together a quiz on the syllabus. I put a video and we put the quiz, and it did help. So from now on, I think I'm going to do on the video, on the lectures, because we put time in it. It's a time and effort. Thank you.
I wanted to mention that I'd taken my original PowerPoints that I used to teach the class fully in person, and I've broken them down into sections, maybe around 10, 15 minutes most, and created playlists for those different sections. So it's under a single topic, but students can look at each of the individual videos, don't have to go through the whole thing. It's just my voice, and there's scripted transcript that's available for them. But it does allow them to look at this. Because I put it up on YouTube, I can also look at the metrics of when people are looking at this, how many people are looking at it. And it does kind of clue you in terms of what things you do cause them to look at those videos. But for example, final at the end of the course, because we cover so much, this comprehensive final, I restrict it to the information I present on the video. So I say, if it's not in those videos, then it's not going to be there. And you see at the end of the semester, there's massive occurring when people are studying and cramming for that final exam, looking at all those videos. So it's really nice for me to be able to see that happening, consistently happening each semester. So if I wanted to change something, and maybe I should kind of make it more specific quizzes on those videos during the semester. I can watch for that. But it was a lot of work. I tell you that. I hate hearing that. So I don't have a quite a class.
I use Blackboard for not only for online courses but also face-to-face. And I don't see Francisco and Jessica and Tony and Ram together in one room very often. So I take this opportunity to thank these people that not only for the online but also for the face-to-face. Your support is very valued and we use it a lot. Thank you. Number two, I thank them first because there are certain things I don't like. I'm gonna sign up. So number two is about micro lecture. I have in my former life I produced a small video about how to use an ordinary PC as a TCP/IP router, and it lives forever in the internet. Long time ago, it was like a big deal. People liked it. Nowadays, that's garbage. It lives forever, and people knows me about that. So in order to produce something, I want it to be kind of, I have a microphone, I have a camera, I have a computer, but I want it to be kind of quality. And when I talked about that to Anthony took me to a studio at court. It never worked. Anthony is here. Anthony can tell me in front of everybody, the two of us never succeeded to work. So I gave up. Number two is I would like to suggest the maintenance of Blackboard because we use it a lot. I know that you are doing the maintenance at night so that you say, oh, no, people are using it. My students, many of my students are working and they use it at night, Saturday night, Sunday night, when you do the maintenance. So if we were to test this, I believe it might work. Why don't we do the maintenance between 8 and 5 on weekdays? So that if something bad happens, the phone can ring, people can have access to it. If they have an emergency between 8 and 5, and they can call Blackboard if it's a big issue. Because when it is on at night or on weekend, mostly the students who are using it at night and weekend are people like a woman with a baby, people who are working. I have a student living in Bronzeville and and by him here taking the bus, and by the time we finish here, it takes 1 hour and a half to get in Bronzeville. And then that's a very night, and she does her work, and then Blackboard is done. So I understand you need to do maintenance, I understand that. It is kind of counterintuitive, but if we were to do maintenance with 8 and 5, do you think it would work? You have never done that before, but I am suggesting to try that.
Yeah, well, we can try that. It's a different topic that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, but I understand, but this is the work.
Yeah, sure, we can talk about more detail on that, but we run out of time.
But the micro lecture, the studio of Tony.
Yes, we have a studio in here in yeah, we have a studio here on Edinburgh, and we also had a studio in Brownsville that we just
I have a question. What's this discussion about? Micro lecture versus no lecture, or micro lecture versus long videos? Do I understand correctly that some people don't even post videos online?
There's some certain faculty that don't post videos online, but like there is a call for students that even face-to-face classes, right? So to record the face-to-face classes so that students can actually review the lecture. So there's a survey sent out. But what we're trying to encourage is micro lectures if you're teaching an online or a hybrid course. That way with the recording, because like it is what it is. If you're teaching a face-to-face class and you're recording your lecture, it's going to be long. But students you can create bookmarks and so on. But if you're going to be using micro lectures, because it's, for example, if you're teaching a flipped classroom approach for hybrid learning, have them go online to review the lecture, assign the readings, and when they come to class, you can actually have activities to problem solve, and things like that. The question that was asked online was just simply, where it was. Yeah, too many questions. It was just something that people voted for. That's why we brought it up. So it was a top 3 topic. It was one of the top 3. And micro lectures are not just about lecturing either. It's about demonstrations. It's about bringing in guest speakers so that they get a reason why if they're learning a topic. It makes it more meaningful. So there's a lot of advantages and affordances using micro lectures in the classroom.
And the students want those.
Yeah, students
Like
want
you
it.
say, they want to go back and review as many times as
But then long lectures can be also split up.
Yeah, well, you can clip them, right? And the thing is, what they say with micro lectures is sometimes with our long lectures, we say a lot of stuff, extra stuff. By doing a micro lectures, you're forced to be concise and precise. Of course, you want to make an outline and stuff like that to prepare so that
As Grant said, it took him a lot of time to upload his own lectures.
Right.
I think there is a shortcut if you don't want to do this at all. You can work with some publishers who provide lectures that are professionally done. So you don't have to do this yourself. Unless you want to do it.
No.
Please feel free.
Right. The publisher and then my own. Because you want them to focus only on the viewpoint like Dan is doing. I like your idea, just break it down.
Yeah.
So how to make micro lectures in classroom or in a specific room?
Well, like we have Integrity, so you can actually use it within your computer at home. But if you want a professional sounding, like a quality room, we do have we have media rooms in our offices, so that you can, and in our offices in Edinburgh and Brownsville, so you can actually use it there. And
so how about general classroom?
so general classroom, each lecture room I'm kind of hesitating because they should have a lapel.
At least a microphone.
And you have Integrity installed in the computer. It'll actually record whatever you have on your screen and also your lapel. Now, if you have that what do you call that? Document camera, you can actually then switch to the document camera and you teach math or physics or science, and then you can problem solve there instead of on the whiteboard. And everything that you write is being recorded so students can review and re-review.
That's in the classroom.
Yeah.
For some people, for example, Professor Romero, who might be teaching, and I know it's not you, it's Professor Morales, but he was teaching gymnastics. You could actually set up a system within the gym or something and do a demonstration, maybe 5-minute demonstration on how to, I don't know, tumble without breaking your neck. It depends on what the purpose is and what your goal is for that particular lecture.
And we can help you if you're interested. We can show you what you can try to use.
A lot of people will provide links. By pressing the links, it leads to YouTube video.
Oh yes, you can also embed video in Blackboard.
So you don't have to do it on your own.
So like a few weeks ago, one of my colleagues and his wife, he was actually the family in California. Then he just recorded some video, and he went to California for a few weeks. And then he just play video in the classroom, ask the TA to play. And then a lot of students complain. Hey, so this situation, how actually we can handle that very well? Like there's some emergency for family issue. If any way we can do this.
What we've done is we have faculty that have to go to a conference. Instead of having them come to class for that week, they create a micro lecture online, but then you have them assigned tasks to complete. I might not be understanding the question. So I'm not sure if
it's a face-to-face course,
right.
But the professor was not in. The professor was in California, and she just showed the videos. She recorded.
Well, the problem is if students cannot ask questions, so they should have a chance to ask questions online at least or somehow. If they don't understand
I think for something like that, additional research, the department would have to substitute and not necessarily have the video as the primary source of information, but more of it as an enhancement to the information provided by the substance. Which I myself do that because I work with Professor Rose by America, and what we do is, for example, if we're at a conference, we have substitute and we have like a little mini lecture, and then we can enhance with videos or anything like that. And it's done in art history classes and stuff like that. So I think for that particular case, it was unique in the sense that they solely relied just on the video for the pure information. And I think the department should really provide some form of substitution if they're going to be out for that long.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being here and sharing your experience and ask questions and participate. There is a survey that we'd like for you to fill out so we can be prepared for the next session next month. Anything else?
It'll be on November 10th.
On November 10th, that's the next session. This time it's going to be in Brownsville. Yeah, so we're trying to alternate Brownsville and Edinburgh.
I was any questions you have? So I got any questions? Any comments?
We need them for the next round table.
I need that for my students.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We like more.
Yeah, there's also
No,
No, it's for support, which is very nice.
That was. Bye-bye.
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
That's the issue. How much effort is put into
Same time.